Before we begin walking our way through a XenDesktop implementation, we need to have a basic understanding of the conceptual architecture. Every XenDesktop deployment can be broken down into 5 layers: users, access, resources, control management, and hardware. These layers, in addition to better aligning our design with our user requirements, also provides the flow of how we manage and deliver a desktop to a user. Let's look at each layer independently, starting with the user layer. This layer consists of one or more delivery groups. A delivery group is simply a group of users who have similar requirements, often aligned with different departments. What's unique about the user layer is the flexibility. Users can use pretty much any device from traditional PCs to tablets and smartphones as long as there is a Citrix receiver available for that device, which there are for most platforms including Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, Chrome, as well as HTML5. In addition to any device, users can also access the environment from anywhere. In fact, some users have accessed XenDesktop from some pretty far-off places. The second layer of our architecture is the access layer, which defines how users will access their resources. The primary mechanism for this is Storefront, which provides the visible front end to your app and desktop store so users can subscribe to and launch their applications after successfully being authenticated. Resources make up our third layer. If you're thinking of just a desktop, you're partially correct. XenDesktop has many resource options available, including apps, non-persistent desktops, persistent desktops, local desktops, shared desktops, remote PC access, plus many more. Each one is applicable to a different use case. The management and control layer contains the delivery controllers responsible for allocating, managing, and maintaining the user access and resource layers. However, the admin workflow for installing, configuring, and deploying the environment is completely different than the workflow for supporting the environment. That is why the management and control layer includes 2 management consoles, Studio and Director. Studio is used to set up and deploy the environment, while Director is used to support the users. And finally, we reach the last layer, the hardware layer. The hardware layer is the physical representation of the overall solution. It includes the physical and virtual host to deploy the solution. As an organization, you can decide if you want to virtualize on-premise with Citrix XenServer, Microsoft Hyper-V, or VMware vSphere. If you're looking for a cloud-based deployment, XenDesktop will allow you to deliver your resources from Citrix Cloud Platform, Amazon AWS, and Microsoft Azure. XenDesktop also lets you have a hybrid deployment where some resources are located on-prem, while other resources are in the cloud. Now that we have a high-level understanding of the XenDesktop conceptual architecture, let's quickly see how we will manage these layers within Studio and how we will support the environment with Director. First, let's look at Studio. The hardware layer is defined within the hosting section of Studio. From here, we can see there is already a hosting configuration defined for Hyper-V. If we go in and add a new hosting configuration, we can also see the many different options available to us within XenDesktop. The management and control layer of our conceptual architecture is visible within the controllers section of the console. You can quickly see that this environment is defined with 2 different controllers. The resource layer of the conceptual architecture gets defined by the different catalogs we have within the machine catalog section of Studio. Here you can see there are currently 3 different machine catalogs. And finally, we get to the user layer, defined as delivery groups within Studio. We have already created 4 different delivery groups. The first one is for application delivery, while the other 3 will deliver desktops to different groups within the organization. If we select the Applications tab, we can see a list of individual applications that are available for our users to access. Now let's take a quick look at how we will support the environment with Director. From the dashboard, we also get a high-level overview of the health of our entire environment. We can see if there are any failures. We can see the number of sessions. We can also see the average logon durations. If we need to provide support for a particular user, we simply type their name into the search bar and it provides a list of users as well as a list of sessions available to them. Selecting the session provides us with a list of processes the user is currently running. If we go to the details section, we get even more information about this user's particular session, like details about the machine, details about the session, details about the logon time, and even details about the user experience items like Flash, smart cards, audio, media, profiles, and so much more. This is just a brief high-level overview of XenDesktop and how our conceptual 5-layer architecture relates to the actual build-out of the solution with Studio, as well as supporting the solution with Director. Because the user experience, as well as the admin experience, is so important, these tools are built into XenDesktop, making it easy for you to design, implement, and support your XenDesktop environment.